afternoon all, welcome to another video. Today is a comparison video, and it is one I've been wanting to do for a little while. I first ventured into this particular comparison by way of the non-alcoholic version, and I thought, well, the non-alcoholic version was very good indeed. So I thought, well, if that's very good, then how good is the original full fat version? And I hit up my local Tesco's, didn't have the full fat version. I tried another Tesco, didn't have it. I tried my local Sainsbury to work, didn't have it. So I was kind of getting a little bit disheartened, and then I went to another Sainsbury and they come up trumps. And the beer in question, Erdinger, full fat and alcohol free. Now, the first comparison I drew with any alcoholic versus non-alcoholic beer is the price. Normally, the non-alcoholic version is a little bit dearer, or at least it is to my findings. But in Sainsbury's yesterday, I paid £1.80 for this. £1.80 for the full fat Erdinger Weisbier. For the non-alcoholic version, I've never paid more than £1.30. In Sainsbury's it was £1.20, in Tesco I'm sure it was £1.30. So it's cheaper for the non-alcoholic version, which surprises me. But let's face it, it's a good thing, because it means when I want to indulge in something a little bit less brain mashing, it doesn't cost me as much. So happy days there. What can I say other than that? Well, not a lot. We're going to go over the full fat version first. It says on the back, Erdinger Weisbier with fine yeast. It's a wheat beer and it's 5.3%. It's fermented in the bottle, which is always nice. The ingredients I cannot read. Oh, there we are, there's the English. Water, wheat malt, barley malt even, hops and yeast. And there's no mention of this one being isotonic and good for athletics. And like this one, which makes a key point of it somewhere. Yeah, isotonic contains vitamins and it's reduced calories, which is true. It is quite low in calories for the whole bottle. It is 125 calories. So those looking to watch their figure, it's not a bad option. And in terms of the ingredients here, we are much the same. Where are we? Come on. You must be here somewhere. Wheat beer. No. Oh yeah, water, wheat malt, barley malt, hops, yeast and CO2. There you go. So you've got, it's carbonated additionally. So very little difference in the ingredients, just a little bit of CO2 in this one, the non-alcoholic version. Other than that, same size bottle, a lot less alcohol, 0.5 versus 5.3. So let's pour. So in time-honoured comparison video tradition, we're using two glasses. We're using the Guinness glass and the Worthington's glass. The full fat will go in the Guinness glass, the non-alcoholic in the Worthington's, and that's what we're going to start with. We're going to start with the alcohol-free, because I know it well. I like it a lot. Into the Worthington's glass. This is a lovely colour. It has a decent head to it. Perhaps a little large, but there we go. That's the non-alcoholic version. Smells good, and I know it tastes good. Full fat. Let's crack that one open. And into the Guinness glass we pour. Same sort of colour. Still has a decent head, slightly less head than the alcohol free. Not much less, but less nonetheless. So, let's pop the bottles down. And first off, we're going to do a colour comparison. So non-alcoholic versus alcoholic. Very similar. In fact, there's naphthol in it to my eye. This, if anything, the alcoholic version is... there's something I'm looking for, a word. Slightly more depth of colour. Not a lot, tiny bit. Aroma wise, wheaty. Wheaty also, but slightly fresher smelling, if that makes sense. It's kind of got a little bit more... yeah, it's a slightly fresher scent. So, we'll start with the familiar. Really bready, thick, yeasty, delicious, and alcohol free. I really never thought once upon a time that I would ever say the words delicious and alcohol free in the same sentence without a negative connotation somewhere in there. I like it a lot. Full fat version. Less wheaty, obviously more alcoholic tasting, slightly thinner, but there's a little fruity edge to it. Yeah, slightly more fruity, obviously more beer-like, if that makes sense, with the alcohol. Yeah. Versus see, there's things I like about them both, and they are different. I mean, the Ghost Ship and Ghost Ship Alcohol Free from Adnams, they were very close in flavour. There are similarities. You can tell they're related, but not closely related. It's like having a brother and sister in the Adnams versus a third or a fourth cousin in this instance. There's a little bit of separation. I like them both equally. I like the fact that the full fat in the Guinness glass is slightly more fruity, and you get that kind of alcoholic taste, whereas the non-alcohol version, it's got that beautiful bready, yeasty taste in abundance. It's here in the alcoholic version, but not anywhere near as much. And I cannot honestly say I dislike anything about either. I like them both quite a lot. This one's a little crisper on the palate as well. On evidence of these two, I really do like a wheat beer quite a lot. Now, the crunch. Just going to put them down for a minute because I just want to check on a little something. I can't remember exactly what I scored the non-alcoholic version on old Untapped. Just going to call it up because I have a feeling I rated it quite highly. In fact, I know I rated it highly. I want to say I gave it a 4. In fact, I'm pretty sure I gave it a 4. There's my check-ins. There it is. Yep. I gave it, probably can't see that too well there. There you go, a 4 on the old alcohol free. And that's important because I want to say I prefer it slightly more. Because of that real bready, yeasty flavour that you don't get in as much abundance with the full fat version. Don't get me wrong, I really do enjoy the full fat Erdinger, that one. But because the alcohol-free is ever so slightly more unique in its flavour, I'd say unique, it's not something I've experienced in a big way, that kind of wheaty, bready overtone. I like it a little bit more. And that's strange to me, because that means admitting that the alcohol-free version of a given beer is better than the full fat, to my palate. And that, my friends, is slightly confusing, because not that long ago my limited experience of non-alcohol beer was Caliber, and then Nanny State, and Erdinger was a real surprise, a very, very big surprise. I genuinely did not think that I would say this is better than this. Did not expect it. Like I say, I like them equally, but there's something I prefer about the non-alcoholic version, and that is that yeasty, wheaty, bready flavour. Because it's different. And different is good. And different doesn't have to mean it's a 10% triple IPA that's going to nail your balls to a wall or the floor once you've had enough of them and you actually fall over. It just means it's something that excites the palate. And it doesn't have to be created by gnomes in the back garden of some secret palace somewhere. It doesn't have to be made by 2 or 3 people in a tiny little warehouse in a far-flung corner of the country. No, it just has to be made by people who know what they're doing and enjoy what they're doing. And I think for me, there is a bit of a history behind German wheat beers from what I've been reading, and there is a certain level of dedication that the Germans put into their beer, particularly the Erdinger. I'm sure, I know I read on their website that there is a certain code they have to comply with, a level of purity, and that shows really nicely in both of the beers. It really does. They're both crisp. Well, this one particularly, so it's very crisp and clean tasting, whereas this one just tastes really, really pleasant and unique. And it's probably not unique, there's probably others out there of a similar nature. But for me, the Erdinger alcohol-free slightly trumps the full fat. Go figure. So, ladies and gentlemen, on that bombshell, to steal a wording from the wonderful Jeremy Clarkson, and I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who don't like him, on that bombshell, it's going to be a goodbye from me. This has been the Erdinger alcohol-free and the full fat. I've been Nick, and I will see you again soon for another video. Bye.